minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Today feels like one of those days. It's a show that I was made for, and you're going to see why in a second. We got our good guy, Stuffy, with us in hour one of your favorite daytime sports talk show. Bill Lindsay, one of my dearest friends from South Florida, pink hitting here. And I'll tell you what, Bill Lindsay from the NHL Network, Florida Panthers great, coming up in hour two when we go to air across Nevada. Scruffy is with us as we're ready to get rolling with a warm-up for Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Scruffy, you're going to love this one. I had AJ Jakubec lined up from TSN 1200 Ottawa. AJ Jakubec was going to join us to talk about the Tkachuk trade this morning. AJ writes me and says, sorry, Rob, but we're going live all day. We're breaking into program. We're going live all day. Brady Tkachuk traded to the Florida Panthers. So I called Bill Lindsay. He's sitting at his kitchen table. It's the summertime in Deerfield Beach, Florida. I said, what are you doing, Billy? He's like, nothing. I said, AJ Jakubec dropped out because they're going live all day on this trade. He goes, they're going live all day on one trade? I'm like, Bill, it's Canada. Did you forget? Scruffy, the world's on fire. At least mine is. Brady Tkachuk is joining his brother Matthew, the Florida Panthers. That's the big story. That's where we're opening. What were your thoughts?
Oh my God, what took so long? Rod,
Okay.
you and I talked about this a long time ago. I think it might have been after the Olympics. It might have been, we may have talked about it over the phone after Four Nations as well. I think everybody in the NHL knew that Brady Tkachuk and Matthew Tkachuk were going to play with one another. It was just a matter of when. And what the Ottawa Senators got back, Bill Zito must have hung up the phone and just cackled. How do you not, if you're the Ottawa Senators, get Anton Lundell or Ito Luistarinen at least back in this deal? Draft picks that are coming in like 3 years? Yes, you get 2 draft picks coming up, but like this isn't Dylan Cousins that you traded. It's Brady Tkachuk.
It's your captain. Spoiler alert.
And the only thing I don't like about this deal,
Okay.
and I know everybody's talking about it and how the Panthers are right back up into the echelon or whatever of the Eastern Conference, and I think they would have been with or without Brady. But what have you still done in your back end? Because your goaltending is a question mark, and it was a question mark, because you gave up the 5th most goals in the NHL, and your defense isn't getting any better. And you're still playing in a division that has Tampa Bay, Buffalo, and Montreal in it. So,
and some other good teams.
Yep, you've improved. But I didn't, when this came down yesterday, I just looked at my watch and went, oh, June 21st, okay.
Why?
Because
Ahead of
I
free
knew
agency.
that Brady Tkachuk would end up with Matthew at some point.
Okay. So Scruffy's come out like a house on fire, not letting me down. I knew that he would. Spoiler alert, the poll question today for Country Thunder is who won the trade? Mitchell, I know who Mitchell's voting for. He just said, there you go, the biggest party this summer coming to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th. Who won the trade? Florida. We all know who it is. Here's one for you, Mitch. We actually have plenty of time left in this segment, but I love the comments from the fans more than anybody else, more than the media, more than the team, the fans. Some guy wrote me on Twitter in my mentions, and he goes, happiest guy in Ottawa over this trade? Ryan Dinwiddie. Because there ain't nobody talking about the 0-2 Ottawa Red Blacks today.
They're not going all day on TSN to talk about the 0-2 Red Blacks?
Apparently not. But maybe Bill Zito's thinking they're not even going to get the puck to our net, so we don't got to worry about goaltending. I don't know. We did an emergency break-in Cats and Bolts Instagram Live yesterday, and I said to my co-host Brent, who's probably watching now, the next Battle of Florida, Mitch, block off 5 hours. The scorekeeper's going to have writer's cramp. You thought last year's brawl for it all was something. Oh, the Brash brothers. People are still getting their heads around this. They're still getting their heads around this.
Roddy, if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning and you're John Cooper, and you know how good of a coach John Cooper is, where are you looking now to try to even up things as far as your team goes. Because you have the best player in the NHL in Kucherov. You have the best goalie in Vasilevsky. You've got a very talented group of players there. Do you need to make a move now to sort of combat what Florida has done here?
Nah, I don't think so. They shouldn't be looking at Florida. They should be looking at Montreal, the team that they weren't able to get past in round one. Tampa's getting old, and Mitch, at some point, it's going to catch up to them. But they made a lot of moves last year.
Well, you could argue that with Florida as well, Rod. Like, they're not getting any younger. And now they've given away 2 picks, first-round picks, who, I talk about Bill Zito cackling. If Steve Stais is on the clock, and he better make some pretty good picks here with these first-rounders. Because if he doesn't, this one might haunt him for a long time.
Here's another one for you. And we only got 2 minutes left here, and we're going to get to football after the break. But 2 guys who I respect immensely, one's a basketball guy, the other's a hockey guy, both wrote me this morning and said, maybe if I was a Canadian NHL team, I wouldn't want to be drafting Americans. And I'm like, come on, guys, that didn't just dawn on you. It came on my radar in the summer of 2022 when Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk both fled Calgary for Columbus and Florida, respectively. But that's a 4-year-old argument. That's not new.
I don't disagree with that, and I think we're seeing it after what happened with the Olympics. Because we've seen so many guys that were part of that Olympic team that have now left a Canadian team to go elsewhere. And now we wonder about Connor Hellebuck, because that talk has seemingly come out of nowhere. And I don't think he's leaving Winnipeg. And a couple of people I have talked to don't think he's leaving Winnipeg. But if somebody picks up the phone and gives Kevin Cheveldayoff an offer, he might just take it.
Well, I guess. I mean, and I don't know about this Hellebuck thing. We got to get somebody on from Winnipeg to talk about that. I don't know if that's where there's smoke, there's fire, or if it's fake news. Brent in Wellington, Florida writes it. He says, cue the Gudas conversation. They're already talking about Radko Gudas coming back to the Florida Panthers. Scott in Vancouver says, are you allowed to ask a player if he is MAGA? You're only asking because you already know the answer and you want to hear the answer, just trying to start a fight. I know what you're saying, though. Hang on. We'll be right back, everybody. This is the warm-up. It's brought to you by Uniglobe, Carefree Travel out of Vancouver, and actually all of Western Canada, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back. It's a Monday. It's the RP Show. Scruffy's with me. Bill Lindsay, Florida Panthers great from the NHL Network, coming up in hour two to break down the Brady Tkachuk to the Panthers trade. We have breaking news. I'm sure you saw it, Mitch. In the break, the Regina Pats have announced their new head coach, 49-year-old David Bell, joining God's team after 7 seasons coaching the American Hockey League's Belleville Senators. Okay, are you ready to move on? We'll come back on the hockey stuff a little later. You cool?
Let's go.
I know you are. The warm-up, by the way, is brought to you by our friends, as I said, at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Score a touchdown in the Caribbean. Join CFL legend Adam Bighill and Rough Riders linebacker Jameer Thurman on a 7-day cruise departing from Fort Lauderdale February 20th. A once-in-a-lifetime experience for CFL fans. Prices from $18.99, cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel, Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. The text line pertains to this for Western Dodge. David, number 2 from Winnipeg, writes in. He says, "Good morning, Rod. Still recovering from my CFL football watching coma. Wow, some great games. Unfortunately, I have to admit the Rough Riders look that they will be hard to beat. How much of the 9 hours on Saturday, 3 straight games, did you watch?"
Just over 4.
That's not bad. That's exactly half.
Well, it's funny. I put a poll out on my Twitter account asking people how much they watched. 0, 1 to 3, 4 to 6, or 6 to 9. And 4 to 6 ended up winning. And I just sort of wonder how many of those, if the Rider game wasn't there, But, yeah, I watched the last couple minutes of the first half of the Montreal-Edmonton game, and then the whole second half, and then obviously the Rider game.
Okay, well, I was getting groceries, and I was like, oh, dang, I get some notification. Somebody scored a touchdown in the Ottawa-Toronto game. I'm like, oh, man, they're playing already? I'm forgetting the time zone that I'm in. So I busted home, and I watched the second and third quarters of the Toronto-Ottawa game. I watched the fourth quarter and overtime of the Edmonton game, and then all of the Rider games. That adds up to about 5 hours. That ain't bad.
No.
Your scores, by the way, Friday night, Hamilton rope-a-doped BC 41-27. And then this triple header we're talking about, Toronto beat Ottawa 44-24, despite Chad Kelly throwing 4 picks. Edmonton Elcamos beating Montreal in overtime 32-29. A little sprinkle of Jesus from Cody Fajardo in overtime, as you saw. And then Sask beating Calgary 40-37 in OT. I was 3-1 in my picks. I had Calgary to win. I have not gone back to look at yours. I forced you to make yours. You went 4-0?
4-0, baby.
No, look at you. What, you bragging? Oh, by the way,
7-2 this year, 8-2.
everybody's Yeah, everybody's all horny about the Brady Tkachuk trade. We'll come back on that. It's the Canadian Hour. It's the summer. We got to get to all the Canadian topics. Way more hockey talk in hour 2. Thank you for your patience. Where do you want? You're the guest. Where do you want to start on the games?
Well, I thought they were pretty good football games from what I saw. The Hamilton BC game was everything I thought it would be. Bo Levi Mitchell and Nathan Rourke shredding opposition defenses. Bo Levi Mitchell looks like he's back to what he was in his Calgary days. The Toronto-Ottawa game I never really saw, but Chad Kelly put up some big yards again against an Ottawa team that, frankly, I'm sorry, if you have Jake Maier as your quarterback, you're not going to succeed. I'm not a Jake Maier fan. I wasn't a Jake Maier fan when he was in Calgary. I thought it was terrible here, and I said that if he ends up being the starter here, if Trevor Harris gets hurt, you can flush the season goodbye. And I can't believe that Ryan Dinwiddie has him as the starter in Ottawa. But I don't know if Drew Brown would be that much better. But they've got to pick it up in Ottawa and figure it out. The Edmonton-Montreal game, I'm not sure that Montreal didn't recover that fumble just before Cody Fajardo brought in the winning touchdown. But we can argue that all over the place. And the Ryder game, how that game went to overtime amazed me. Because the Riders beat that team from pillar to post. And if it wasn't for the play at the end of the first half, and you can debate that all you want, the Riders would have won that game by 20 or more points. Because I thought they were going to mollywop the Stampeders, Rod.
It was going that way.
Good on them. Good on them for coming back and, looking adversity in the face and coming back and winning that football game. But there's some questions there. And,
hang on.
Rider fans wanted to get rid of Brett Lowther. Well, you did. Is this guy any better? Through 2 weeks, people are going, you can hit the road.
I'm enjoying you. I just got
here.
I know. I just got to move this along because I'm watching the game with Joe, and this kicker, Hale, missed the field goal. He's like, oh, let's run him out of town. Rider fans didn't run Brett Lowther out of town. The GM did, Jeremy O'Day, and it's not Jeremy's fault. We all get it. We all saw what his season was last year. I'm not blaming Jeremy for that. And do you remember in January, the CFL meetings were on in Calgary, and the reporter said to Jeremy O'Day, is Brett Lowther still your kicker? And O'Day goes, he is today. Call U-Haul, Brett. Call U-Haul because you're done. Anyways, if anybody didn't see that, I just want to sprinkle in some viewer comments here because they're great. BW writes in, he says, morning RP squad from West Texas, US 385, heading to Midland. Drive safe, good buddy. Ryan in upstate New York says, good day, Rod Squad. Hope everyone enjoyed their respective weekend. Well, we're getting to that. Glenn in Medicine Hat says, happy to see those U.S.-born players able to return home to play. They're leaving behind Canada's political cesspool. I don't think they're going for political reasons, but I'm just passing it along, Glenn, because we like you. Jeff in Winnipeg says it's only 2 to 3 games in, but Jake Maier in Ottawa? Yikes. Jeremy in Winnipeg says, so is the Dylan Larkin price tag going up the long Yzerman waits? Probably. John says, double header, yes. Triple header, too much football, in my honest opinion. I'll stop there for a sec. Nobody has a problem when the NFL does it. I was
just going to say, does John figure that way on Sundays when the NFL season starts?
And I didn't like the TSN announcers complaining about how long they were on the air. I'm just going to say it.
Oh, I missed that.
Yep. If you can't do it, then get out of the chair. There's plenty of people that will.
Yep.
So there's that. And on the Fajardo thing, I'm just going to say it. I mean, Chris Streveler came out and said that. Now, listen, I don't have the sound up on these games, so I don't know who said it. But you probably saw Chris Streveler's tweet that the TSN announcer just said Cody Fajardo can't win the big one. He was the MVP of the 2023 Grey Cup. Put some respect on his name. It's at a point with the Fajardo hate right now that it's mean-spirited, and I don't know why. And I don't know why the CFL and TSN allows people like that announcer to say these things. On the flip side, Cody at least comes out and just continues to jam it down everybody's throat. But the attendance was pathetic in Edmonton. I know the weather was bad. So that was a good news, bad news thing coming out of the Edmonton game.
I threw this out on Twitter on the weekend, and for once I didn't get slammed by Rider fans, including the one that thinks I didn't go to a game when I did, because he's an idiot. Commonwealth Stadium had 2 World Cup soccer qualifying games.
I saw your post on that. One of those
games was played in the snow. It was sold out. One of those games was played in the rain. It was sold out. Chris Morris came out on Friday, Thursday, and talked about the name change.
President of the Elkamos.
Right. Roddy, at some point, people in Edmonton have to take their head out of the sand and realize that there is a major, major problem with football there. And yes, the record is part of it. The fact that they did not win a home game in over 2,400 days is a part of it. I'm sure the name change is, but they have lost a generation of football fans in Edmonton, much like other teams have. And that's got to be a concern for Chris Morris and Edmonton. And it's getting to the point, Rod, that the only 2 fan bases, and I know that you can't really add BC to this right now because they're in flux with their games in Kelowna and Victoria. BC Place isn't there. But right now, Roddy, it's Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, and the rest of them are just way behind when it comes to support of their teams.
Well, and with this Ottawa thing.
Part of that's on the league and part of it's on the team.
I know. Oh, you're preaching to the choir here. But I don't think this will ever be changed. I saw somebody tweeting it was Arlene from Saskatoon writing in on Twitter. She goes, I feel bad for Ottawa. We can't as a league afford to have Ottawa keep losing like this. And I'm like, oh my God, is it 1995? But she's not wrong.
Right.
It's sad when you got to worry about a league losing and you feel bad because you worry about their financial viability. JC in Winnipeg says Edmonton Elks need to get those fans back bad, and winning is just the start. You, Mitch, worked in Northern Alberta. Do you not think if they win, that's the remedy? They've been
Roddy,
bad for a long time.
when I worked in Northern Alberta, the Edmonton Eskimos were the thing. The Oilers obviously were in their heyday and then starting to go downhill. But the Edmonton Eskimos were gold. When they came to Peace River, when they came to Grand Prairie, when they came to the Peace Country, there were people there watching their games. Our radio station that I worked at the time, we had buses that went to Edmonton for games. And thankfully, they would wait until I was done post-game before they would leave.
It's amazing.
Made for some long trips because we were 4.5 hours away. But there was a genuine love for the Edmonton Eskimos. And I took a lot of heat because, of course, being from Saskatchewan, everybody just assumed I was a Rider fan. Much like if you're a Flames fan in Northern Alberta, you take a lot of heat. But there was a love affair there with the Edmonton Eskimos. And I don't know if that love affair is there anymore. And like I said, it's, yes, the Elks. And I find it funny that people I've talked to in the game I've been at Commonwealth Stadium, you can't see really any sign of the Elks logo or name because everything's gone back to the double E. And I know there was a rumor that Larry Thompson was going to change the name back before he tragically passed away from cancer. But they've got to do something there. And hopefully the wins will start that. And Justin Rankin's a guy you've got to promote the HE double hockey sticks out of.
Well, I don't know if they do or not.
The best player of the CFL through the first 3 weeks.
That's the number 5 scat back for Edmonton who, I was going to compare him to Giz, but he's not Giz. He's different. He's his own player.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. But from the audience, and this is why it's summertime, it's the Canadian Hour of the RP show. I'm loving the conversation, and I appreciate what Mitch brings to it. John in Winnipeg says, money is tight these days. Empty seats. Yeah, bro? Tell that to Oilers fans and Leafs fans, and for that matter, Jets fans and World Cup fans. You can't use that, okay? And the other thing is these teams aren't getting out into the rurals anymore like they used to, which is totally fine. I understand the landscape's changed in sports, but what are you doing to get the people into your building? Because, again, they're spending the money.
Too, Rod,
they're just not spending it on you. What?
And the other thing is the downfall of the media also hurts tremendously. Not just in Edmonton or Calgary,
Massive.
but even here. Like, there was a time, and you know this as well as I do, you could turn on the TV at 6:20 and catch Craig Adam or Warren Woods on Global or Lee Jones on CTV or Glenn Reed on CBC, pushing rider stuff from daily practices or whatever. You and I doing it on RM, Ray Morrison doing it on News Talk.
Yeah.
Now, where is it?
That's just here, though.
Find it.
That's just here. They don't do that. They've never done those shows in the other markets.
They don't have a dedicated sports person in Edmonton or Calgary anymore.
We're breaking right away. And I don't want to break. But people have comments about Luke Wilson's color commentary. We'll get to that. The guys are asking about changing the name back. Chris Morris has said it's not viable. For whatever the reasons are, he says it's not viable to change the name back to Eskimos. And if he says it, I believe him. Seems like a great guy. We'll be right back, having a great Monday discussion here on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Dean, Brody, and the Recklaws teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else. I can't help myself.
Two of Canada's biggest country acts. One stage, one unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The comments are going crazy. Bear with me. I'll get to them once Scruffy adjourns. There's a million here. The Western Dodge text line's open. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. You can reach us here at 902-518-3033. We've talked the Brady Tkachuk trade already with Scruffy. Bill Lindsay's coming up in hour 2. Florida Panthers, great from the NHL Network to get more into that. A lot of week 3 in the CFL, and that's where the comments have come from. But I gotta ask Mitch before we let him go at the end of this segment about the Mike Babcock thing. So he met with the players. This seems like an alternate universe, a very strange thing that Mike Babcock's going to coach the Oilers. What's your read on what's going on up there?
I'm hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
What do you know about why they're not hiring Bruce Cassidy?
Well, have they given permission yet?
I don't know how they can't. I think it was. I think Bettman was okay with it
either. But this story is just so bizarre.
Yes,
and
it is.
Glad
you said it.
I got a notification from the Edmonton Oilers this morning, and I went, "Oh, here it is." But it was the fact that they've signed Connor Murphy to a new contract. But I just keep waiting, and people I talk to in Edmonton, they go, unless they're really throwing a smokescreen here or Babcock decides he doesn't want to do it, but now that the investigation has cleared him, I think we're just waiting for pen to be put on paper.
It looks that way.
And we'll see what happens.
Okay,
but like
cool.
I said, I really want to hear from the Oilers core, in particular 97 and 29, as to why they think this is the guy when he has the track record that he has.
They wouldn't say it anyways, and you know that. So
well, I know, but you can't tell me that 97 hasn't heard from players that think that Mike Babcock is a you-know-what. And is Connor McDavid just sort of, is he that tunnel vision? Mike Babcock can get me to a Stanley Cup. If he is, okay.
That would be the only way that they would go along with this because players want to win. He's already got his money, right? They want to win. So if he's been convinced by whomever, by Stan Bowman or the owner, whoever's making this, in it, I feel terrible.
It's
the owner.
I think this has Daryl Cates written all over it.
Then you got bigger problems than I thought, buddy.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Back to the you love this, and the viewers do too. We were talking about Luke Wilson, or I brought up there where we're going to talk about it. Wayne in BC writes it. He goes, I actually like Luke Wilson's commentary on the football broadcast. He is, after all, a football player. I think it was Scott in Vancouver wrote in and said he doesn't like his commentary because it's too much football speak. He goes, honestly, I really like Luke Wilson doing live commentary, but he throws out a lot of technical football terms. Here's my take on that. Learn them. Because we were sitting watching the other night with Joe, and Joe goes, what's cover zero? I said, zero coverage deep, all-out blitz. That's what it is. If people don't know, then go learn the terms.
Well, and not only that, but I don't care if it's Luke Wilson, Dwayne Ford, Glenn Suter. They show you what cover zero is, and they show you that stuff on replays. Like, are you not watching?
I don't know. I don't know what they want, but do you remember that guy that was on NFL radio? I want to say his name was Tim Reed. They called him T-Rock. I think it was Tim Reed. Anyways, he's not on there anymore. And I know you listen to NFL radio a lot, and he had said that he was told by management at NFL radio to tone down the football speak. They called him T-Rock. T-Rock was his nickname. I want to say it was Tim Reed. And he just goes, no, I'm not going to tone it down. This is how football people speak. These are the terms. Go learn them. And I was like, you know what? Good for you. I don't have any issues with Luke Wilson. Like, as far as Luke Wilson goes, I could take or leave him. He's a nice breath of fresh air in the booth, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. And I haven't had a problem with him or Dustin Nielsen. Roddy, I don't have a problem with the TSN broadcasters. I have a problem with the TSN packaging of the game.
Newsflash, Scruffy has a problem with TSN's package. What is it specifically? What is it specifically? What is it you don't like? Sorry, what is it you don't like?
I just don't like I wish they would do so much more for a broadcast. Like, for years, I have been calling for them to do what the other pro leagues do, and that is have an ex-official that can tell you why calls have been made or why they haven't been made. I think that some of the things that the in-game interviews with whoever, scrap those. You can do those at pregame or at halftime. And while it is great to see the grassroots of the game with the little highlights, I don't need Hinoak Mwamba and Milt Stiegel and Davis Sanchez and Kate Burness or whoever yelling, "Fire!" Shut up. Like, that just takes me right to the remote and click.
But here's the thing. TSN has their way of doing things now. It's not like what it used to be. And my God, you and I haven't even talked about Hockey Night in Canada here. It's what they want. Like Britt Dort, whom I love, as do you, great gal. She was talking about how windblown her hair was at halftime. I'm like, I don't care. What did it become about this? But that's what it is now. So we just have to kind of put up with it because not everybody.
There are moments that you can use levity, but there's other moments you just gotta no. So. Scott in Vancouver says on the Luke Wilson's jockabulary, he says, yes, I like it. I don't mind learning the terms. Marcel writes in, he says, Paul LaPolice explains each play after each down. I love it. Well, Lapo's been doing it for 3-4 years. Luke's been doing it for 3 weeks. So you're right. LaPolice is exceptional on there. He is really good. Suter was obviously incredibly good as well. But everybody has their own way. Not everybody can be the same. The only problem I have with Glenn is that I would like Glenn to be critical of players and of calls. Because Glenn will never, ever rip a player or rip a call.
Well, I know why.
I think that's needed from your number one guy.
It's personal preference, and folks, I'm going to have to carry this over after the break. No, it's because remember my role for so long. I witnessed coaches going up to Suter before the game in warm-ups and just undressing the hell out of him, screaming at him in the end zone. And my guess is Suter was just like, I don't need this. It's like at one time he was critical because those coaches were my friends. And a lot of times they would come to me and bitch about things Suter would say. And I'm like, go tell them yourself. And it got ugly. And it's like 90 minutes before game time and you're screaming at Glenn Suter in the end zone. I'm not going to name names, Gary Echeverry. And it's just do you know what I mean, though, Mitch? I don't like dealing with it.
No, I know. And those are the things that we see those things, but those that are watching the games don't. And some things don't change. And I'm guessing you're right with all that.
No, it doesn't. Trust me. John Ohm says, why do you need to rip a player? You don't really, because it's entertaining. That's why. I mean, look at Rex Ryan on ESPN Countdown. It's entertaining as hell. But you know what? He doesn't have to go to the stadium and face these guys, which is a whole other thing. Yeah, we all enjoy watching it, but it's not good being that player.
Well, I'm sorry, too. If you've got a player, and I forget who he was for Edmonton last year, and he had 3 straight pass interference calls where he looked terrible on all 3 of them, you can't sugarcoat that, man. Like, you can't. The guy shouldn't be on the field.
Oh, dude. Remember Junior Murtile?
Oh, don't get me started with that.
Oh,
what
Mitch, this goes by.
Show that was.
This was
nice
a player for the
tackle
Riders.
on Darius Bowman.
He was a turnstile is what he was. Wasn't even a player.
Oh, for those that don't know who he is, do a YouTube search of his infamous highlight against Darius Bowman and tell me he shouldn't have been ripped.
He had a brain freeze. What can we say? Anyways, well, this has been fun. As always, Mitch, we'll see you tomorrow, okay? Go enjoy the World Cup. All right.
Behave yourself.
Not much else to do these days. We'll be right back here on the RP Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision. A big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. BBB has been fun, huh? Next hour, I know we'll be on the air in Las Vegas. They don't care as much about the Florida Panthers there, but I do want to say, I've got my Panthers shirt on. We said we were going to be talking about Brady Tkachuk going to Florida on the day after the Florida Panthers acquired Brady Tkachuk, and that's a poll question today. Who won that trade? Everybody knows Florida did. Elliot Freeman reporting that Sergei Bobrovsky won't be back. It doesn't look like Sergei Bobrovsky will be back with the Panthers, and that hurts. But I'm sitting here going, I'm not the only one. I'm not the guy that went to war with him since 2020, like his teammates and all the staff that loves him. So talk about good news, bad news down there in South Florida. I will say this. Yesterday when that trade came down, my phone blew up from Panthers fans. Like, you have to do an emergency Cats and Bolts live stream. So we did. And I just love doing it. Shout out, Brent. Thank you for joining me. And I'm like, those are my people. They've been so good. They've welcomed me. It's so awesome in the summer in Canada, but it's so awesome there in Florida. I miss those folks. I'm so happy they didn't forget about me. Graham writes in on the Western Dodge text line 902-518-3033, says McMahon Stadium's atmosphere was amazing Saturday. Great vibes from the fans. It's very unfortunate the number of empty seats. Given that Calgary's hosting the Grey Cup, these attendance numbers can't be good. However, we are beating the attendance numbers like a dead horse. Well, I didn't bring it up. You did. I didn't bring it up at all. That's one. Two, I was listening to the Rough Riders radio broadcast, and they brought up the poor crowd at McMahon Stadium. It is, if people want to sit and talk about the finances of the CFL, go ahead. Don't do it here. The CFL ain't worried about my finances. I'm not concerned about theirs. I'm concerned about my own. Whatever. I'm just here to talk about the games. Noni writes in from Calgary. She says, hi, Rod. I was at that crazy game in Calgary on Saturday, and I didn't think they should have gone for the field goal at the end of the half either, especially with the crazy wind. But at least the Riders won in the end. Don't ever leave a game early. Well, I always do, and I've never regretted it. No, that's wrong. I did regret it one time. It's a playoff game, Florida Panthers, Boston Bruins, Jersey Jim and I left, and it's on me with like 7 minutes to go. Playoff game, and the brawl broke out, and that's when Matthew Tkachuk beat the hell out of David Pastrnak, and we missed that. I regret that one. Sorry, Jim. Wayne in BC writes in, he goes, I actually like Luke Wilson's commentary on the football broadcast. He is, after all, a football player. I guess I read that once already. I don't mind him on there. There's far worse, let's put it that way. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, Chad Kelly, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 869 yards passing in just 2 games. Dropped and overthrown balls, Kelly would be over 1,000 yards passing. It is what it is. They're 1-1. He's fun to watch. Chad Kelly, that's what I will say about him. All those games Saturday were fun to watch. We didn't really get into Fajardo. You want to talk about beating a dead horse? I don't understand the Fajardo hate in the league. All I can think is jealousy from a lot of the people that are purporting it. They didn't have the career that he has. I don't know why you would treat the guy the way that some have. But Cody, don't worry about that. He's looking ahead, not back. It doesn't feel good to be bashed, but what are you going to do? Lose? Will that make the people happy? Will that make the haters happy if you lose? That's not going to happen. So, which reminds me, I got a note this morning. Gentleman might be watching right now that messaged me, but he said the other NHL owners are upset at Ottawa for this trade, sending Brady Tkachuk to the Florida. I'm like, so what? For whatever reason, Ottawa did what they thought was best. Florida did what they thought was best. I don't think they're in the business of pleasing the other owners at all. Oh my God, it's so bloody predictable. And as I've learned from my other career, the mental health addiction recovery space, just the way humans work, because it translates to sports. It's just so clear to me. They're trashing Brady Tkachuk now in Ottawa. He was poisonous in the dressing room. He was this. He was a bad. Last week, you loved him. So, and by the way, I played this game too, and I feel dirty that I did. But it was when the guy's on his way out of town. It's a breakup, right? So a lot of people talk bad about the ex. It's the way that it is. Used to play that game too. I don't anymore because you don't win. And it's similar with Brady Tkachuk. Now he was a bad captain. Wasn't like so certain players were not sad to see him go. Really? Why didn't they have the balls to say that when he was there? When Corey Chamberlain was fired as the coach of the Rough Riders, I'm on the air trashing Cham. And in retrospect, I felt bad about it, but he and I didn't have a very good relationship at the end either. But that's just the way that it goes. And the reason it was brought to my attention was I remember it was a Rider fan wrote into my radio show and said, oh, last week you were saying great things about Cham, and this week he had to go. Guy called me on it. He was right. The guy was fired. Let him go. Brady Tkachuk was traded away. Let him go. That's the point. You see it all off the top of my head. I can't think of other examples, but it happens all the time. When I left the last job 7 years, trashed round and sundry forever, man. It's a lot to deal with. Maybe that's why I don't do it anymore, because I know how it feels. And I was also called out for doing it. It's different than the Fajardo hate. What I'm saying is, after a firing, after a trade, there becomes a narrative, again, to use Jersey Jim's thing, to support the move. Oh, it's not that bad of a trade, guys, Sens fans, because Brady wasn't liked here. Why was he the captain then? Why was he the heart and soul of it? You're just making this up to support. You're just putting this out there to cover your own ass. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in. He says, I love Luke Wilson. He obviously knows the game. He brings a football-savvy attitude and approach that is missing from most sports coverage. The one thing that I've learned about Luke Wilson, which I've never had one single conversation with him, but from what I hear about from the people in his circle, he just doesn't care. I don't think it's that he doesn't need the money, because if you have lots of money, you still want more money, but he doesn't care. So he's just going to say what he wants to say. He's not going to be influenced by anybody, because nobody's going to tell him what to do or say. I think that's pretty evident, right? And that's refreshing in a lot of ways. That's the way he approaches. Not everybody's like that. Vintage Sasko writes in, 902-518-3033. Hey, Rodalicious and Berenstein Bear Blair. Thanks for promoting the CFL. Go Riders, go Canada. Signed, Sasko. And we may or may not sashay down this road next hour on this whole, U.S. players don't want to play in Canada. Because I'll say that 2 people said that to me this morning, a basketball guy and a hockey guy. They're like, maybe you should talk on your show about the fact that U.S. players don't want to play in Canada anymore. We have talked about it, and it's been a thing for 4 years. That's when it came on my radar, when Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk fled Calgary, because I was in Calgary that summer, July of 2022. And if I noticed it, I'm pretty sure the NHL GMs noticed it 3, 4, 5 years before that. And now the fans are just noticing it now. Jeff in Winnipeg writes in. He says, will Sam Bennett give Brady a big hug when he gets to Sunrise? You should go follow some of the memes that are going around about this, that when the Tkachuks and Sam Bennett take their first shift, it's a scene from Slapshot. Do we understand what's happened here? They've unleashed fury on the National Hockey League with the Tkachuk brothers teaming up in Florida. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in. He goes, Glenn Suter equals Darren DuPont. They're just not wired to be critical. That's also not true. There's a story, Glenn, I'm surprised you probably forgot it, but like with Moose DuPont, he was critical. He used to write a column for me years ago, Darren, at rodpeterson.com, when he was doing color on the WHL TV broadcast, and he criticized the Warriors. He didn't even criticize them. He predicted they were going to lose a playoff series. And Tim Hunter, under the stands at Credit Union Center in Saskatoon, pretty much threatened to end Darren's life. And that was the end of it. Darren's like, this ain't worth it. Whereas that is the difference between Darren and I. I don't care. And I told people that I don't care. I'm better, though. I need to be more like Moose. I was having coffee in Moose Jaw yesterday, and I had a guy come up to me. I'm not going to name him. You might know who he was, a pretty famous sports guy. He goes, Rod, I love what you've done for sports in this province. I was actually wearing this jacket. And he goes, but I don't care for that jacket you're wearing right now. What do you think crossed my mind? For those that are listening on the radio, was Regina Pat's alumni jacket, which is the arch rival hockey. I just nod my lip that there was blood spurting. I didn't say a thing. So I can tell you what the old me would have said. That guy would have been wearing his coffee. 902-518-3033. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says, so is Florida a contender again? They were going to be a contender anyways. Thank you for the question, Jeff. But this certainly helps. They have a few things that they need to sort out, but we will be addressing that next hour. I didn't even know this. The guys were writing it. Scott in Vancouver says, Leo Routen's lost his job on Sportsnet for being too boring on Raptors broadcast. Personally, I thought he was fine at it. I didn't know that Leo Routen's was gone. He is an unbelievable guy. The best guy. But you sit there and look at some of the decisions that have been made at that network. I don't think you need a reason to be fired there. Rod Black, Natasha Staniszewski, icons of that place. How do they get fired and others stay, and then they put these new people on the air that should not be on the air? Kirk in Toronto writes in, says, hey, Rod, only 13,900 fans in Ottawa on a beautiful day. Oh, and saw a semi on the 401 the other day called Eskimo Express. Were you offended? When are you going to get off the CFL attendance, everybody? This is kind of a fun little game. At least we're not talking about expansion. Bill Lindsay joins us next. We'll be right back, everybody.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Howdy do, good neighbor. Welcome to the RP Show. Welcome to a brand new week. It's a Skyclon production here of the RP Show. We welcome viewers across Nevada on Silver State Sports, around the world on Game Plus streaming. Shout out to our boy Jeremy Davis producing over there, producer Corey producing over here. We're also on podcast form at WQVZ. Today's guest, Bill Lindsay, Florida Panthers great from the NHL Network, coming up in the next segment, presented by Prairie Panels. It's the big story. I be ringing the bell, blowing the kazoo. It's the big story as we open up. We got a lot to get to here over the next hour of your favorite daytime sports talk show, airing in prime time in Sin City. Matthew Tkachuk, the big story. Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk are about to team up in Florida after the Panthers pulled off another summertime blockbuster on Sunday. The Panthers and Ottawa Senators finalized the deal Sunday night, with Florida sending 4 draft picks to the Senators for Brady Tkachuk, the brother of Panthers star Matthew Tkachuk, and the Senators captain. So let me just tell you a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff, because it's so much fun and delicious, which from our audience, because again, this is hour 2. We've been on the air for an hour already on Game Plus, streaming in our own YouTube channel. But where is it here? John in Winnipeg says, I'll be watching Florida now with the brothers playing. Report coming out today from Elliot Friedman from Sportsnet that Sergei Bobrovsky is on his way out of Florida. So it's a good news, bad news day, and we'll chat with Bill Lindsay about that. But all of the headlines, and I'm talking about World Cup headlines, U.S. Open headlines, MLB, they're all stolen with this trade. And we were to have AJ Jakubec on, my longtime friend, AJ Jakubec from TSN Ottawa, to discuss this trade and how it's ripped the heart out of the Senators franchise. And he texts me this morning, and he goes, can't come on. We're going wall-to-wall, live all day, 24/7 on this trade on TSN Radio Ottawa. I'm like, no, AJ, I get it. Now what? Our business manager, Joe, had already built all the graphics for this show today. So I called my buddy Bill Lindsay in Florida. Panthers great from the NHL Network, and he still does radio for the Panthers. I said, Billy, can you come on? And AJ bailed. I get it, and told him why. And Bill's like, they're going wall-to-wall all day on one trade? I'm like, yeah. Did you forget, Bill? It's Canada. Billy was born in Big Fork, Utah, raised in Fernie, BC. He's got the best of both worlds like Hannah Montana. So anyways, 4 draft picks, including 2 first-rounders for Brady Tkachuk. The Bash brothers are teaming up in Sunrise. And by the way, that's the other thing. On Sunday, I was driving on the highway to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and my phone went off, bing, about this trade. And that's a whole other story. And as I pulled into the city, all of the Panthers fans were going crazy. You got to do a live stream. You got to do an emergency podcast. So we did with Brent, my good buddy from Wellington, Florida. We got on the line. We did this. We broke down the trade, talked about Bob leaving, a little bit of the money and so forth. And I was just so heartened that the Panthers fans hadn't forgotten me, that I come up to Canada for the summer. And they didn't care that I was wearing Golden Knights gear all through the Stanley Cup playoffs because their team missed. They're still my people, and I love them. And I'll be back after Labor Day. The place to be, hockey-wise, is Sunrise, Florida. It'll at least in the East. In the West, it's Vegas. And here's another one. Can I just tell you a funny story? Because that's what we do here. We're not like every other sports show. I was visiting my 86-year-old uncle and my 84-year-old aunt. And as my mom says, and my mom's not with us anymore, but she said, these are the last true farmers. They milk cows. They raise chickens. They do. So my Uncle Gary's sitting in the armchair, and once a year, I drive out there to give them an update on my life, because it changes hell of a lot within a year. So what happened to her? Tell us about this one. So they had asked, but they're like, so you're doing the soccer now? And I said, well, sort of. It's a live stream. And they're like, what's that? So I told them. My uncle's like, so I sit you sit on the couch and you talk about the game? And people actually tune in and watch that? I don't get it either. But they do. And by the way, they hired us again to do this Wednesday's game, Canada-Switzerland on Gosh, the streaming platform Gosh by the Global Crypto Casino BC game. So I did. I don't get it either. But we had a great visit. We had a great time out on the farm. Jeff writes in and he says, the key to Sunrise, Florida incoming for Rod. Nah, probably Boca Raton. That's where I live, 27 miles away from the rink. But Bill Lindsay coming up next to talk about this trade. And Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, what's left in Panthers prospects to get Connor Hellebuck? We'll ask Bill. Scott in Vancouver. Thank you, bro. You get it. Scott writes in, he goes, there's sports talk shows talking hockey in the summer in any Canadian market. You walk 2 blocks away from an arena in the U.S. Sunbelt and nobody cares. No, you're right. But that's why they like me. Because all those Miami sportscasters are all horny about the World Cup right now. If it's not that, it's the Marlins. And if it's not that, it's the Rays or the Dolphins. They don't care about the Panthers in the summertime, and they know that I do. Talking earlier just about broadcasters, and Glenn is watching in Medicine Hat. There was a criticism last hour because everybody likes to talk about the broadcasters. And, I can get into actually, I will get into this with Billy when he joins us next. Let me put this down. Criticism. Because Billy's not, he's not criticism. I listen to the Panther games all the time on the radio. And Billy doesn't criticize the home team. Sometimes he criticizes the other team, which is fine. But Glenn in Medicine Hat was writing in and, what should I say? He was criticizing guys for not being critical enough in today's sports media climate. And Glenn goes, in my opinion, if being wired to be too critical includes expecting to have a deal with the fallout, defending a decision or point of view, not everyone wants to do this. I don't want to fight with it anymore. Like, for instance, since we're sitting here and it's Vegas's favorite hockey show, the world's oldest junior hockey team, the Regina Pats, named a new coach today, and his name is David Bell. Not too many people know who this guy is. I found out on Saturday that they were going to have this news conference Monday morning, but it was in trust that don't tell anybody, but we're having a news conference. I poked around a little bit to see who this coach was going to be. Nobody knew who it was going to be, and it ends up being this David Bell. Glenn, you would know from decades ago. We would have spent the entire weekend trying to figure out who this was and then broke the news. Can't do that anymore. So I don't need to deal with it, is my point. My life's a lot more peaceful. Not pissing the teams off. How about that? When God gives you a second chance, don't blow it. This time I listen. 902-518-3033. Wayne in BC writes in. He says, man, if Florida manages to get Connor Hellebuck for their goalie, they will likely win another cup. Jeff, the Stamps fan, wrote in and said earlier, are they a contender again? They were going to be a contender probably anyways, but this was a seismic trade, as the guys were saying on NHL radio this morning. Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin. Seismic. I'll also say this. Viewer Jason wrote in and said, does this make Florida take over the mantle of the most hated team, taking it away from Vegas? Probably not. But maybe you guys tell me. I still think, and Kelly McCrimmon, I don't think could argue this, the GM of the Golden Knights. Well, he would argue it, but I think that Bill Zito is the best general manager in the National Hockey League right now. And I'm sorry to say, although not sorry to say, it goes on cups. Winning still matters. We say it here all the time. Bill's got more cups than Kelly, period. And somebody would say, well, he's been to as many Stanley Cup finals in a shorter amount of time. Bill Zito's still the best general manager in the National Hockey League, but I would put Kelly McCrimmon at number 2 and the best in the Western Conference. How about that? Brent's loading up. Brent from Wellington, Florida writes in and says, questions for Bill. Who's the goalie going to be? Who are the defensemen going to be? He's not the GM. Let's just roll it back for a second. Well, we can ask him, but I don't want to put the guy on the spot. That's the one thing about when it's my show. It's my house. I don't invite somebody into my house and then grill them. The warm-up is brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show, and the CFL's BC Lions. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. We got to sell out their cruise. It's sailing out of Florida February 20th, 2027, with CFL legend Adam Bighill and Rough Riders linebacker Jameer Thurman. Prices from $18.99. Cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel. Point 2. Yeah, big soccer guy here now. Point 2, World Cup. Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, and Erling Haaland headline a star-studded Monday at the World Cup. Argentina facing Austria, France meeting Iraq, and Norway taking on Senegal as all three look to build on opening match victories. Jordan and Algeria close out the day's action at 11 p.m. Eastern in another Group J matchup. Can I just say this? I did walk into my uncle's farm living room, and he was watching soccer. And I said, for the life of me, I can't believe that you're watching soccer. 86-year-old farmer from Saskatchewan, Canada. But it was on. And I'll back it up a day. I was trying to find the Toronto Argonauts radio broadcast on TSN Radio Toronto on the app, the TSN app, and guess what? They didn't have it. They were airing a soccer game between, like, Netherlands and I don't know who. And I'm not complaining. I'm saying it the way that it is. I'm like, apparently a soccer game between Netherlands and, let's say, Uzbekistan takes precedence in Toronto over a CFL Argonauts broadcast on TSN Radio. It's their station. They can do whatever the hell they want. But here we are. So when my 86-year-old uncle goes, you sit on a couch and talk soccer and people watch it? I don't know what to tell you. This is where we are. And it pays really well. It's 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain for the live streaming audience, those that observe. Thank you, Carlos in Indiana, for pointing it out daily in the live audience. Envision the perfect outcome and then live there. It totally works. It's happening again. 902-518-3033. They're not giving me the key to Sunrise, Florida. Probably giving it to Brady Tkachuk today. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and says, Canada is changing. I would suggest Canada has changed. How about that? Here's one. Dovetails off the Messi. I do love the broadcast, though. I just love the announcers with that accent. Messi, just the way they say it. They're good. For bosses looking for an easy win to boost employee morale, they can look no further than the FIFA World Cup. With the soccer tournament underway, some Canadian workplaces are seizing on the opportunity to host watch parties in the office, which one expert says can help foster connection and collaboration. Mike Schechtman, a senior regional director for recruiting company Robert Half, said global events like the World Cup or Olympics bring energy to the workplace, especially given matches are being hosted in Toronto and Vancouver. This is Brown breaking stuff. Bring the office together to watch a game together in the lunchroom. It's good for morale. Wow! They're paying this guy? This is news? Breaking news. Bringing your staff together for team functions helps morale. Stop the world. I want to get off. I will say this, though. We have Tim Hortons, Canada's chain. They're offering these, we call them Timbits. I had a gal, Kelly in Florida, Billy Lindsay, would know her if he saw her. She wrote me, I put it on my Instagram. She's like, what are those things? I said, well, in America, we call them donut holes. In Canada, we call them Timbits. And I listened to somebody, and I shouldn't have. They have World Cup Timbits for each country. And one, I want to say it's chili, whatever. It's lime. So, Brent, you're watching in Wellington, Florida. Think about this. Think about the honey-dipped cruller, which is my favorite donut. It's made into a Timbit and then injected with key lime filling. Somebody said, don't eat the lime ones. They're not any good. So for like a week, I didn't. And I'm like, oh, man, I see these ads all the time. I'm going through the drive-thru. Give me some of them lime Timbits. When I tell you, Jesus made these. Oh. Billy, hang on. I was afraid I might have sent him the wrong link, but I'll get it to him. He'll be logged in right away. He's a bit of a last-minute guy. Bill Lindsay joining us next. Anyway, moral of the story, don't go by what you hear. I had a hockey guy say that to me the other day. Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. The Tim Hortons World Cup lime Timbits are straight from Jesus. Okay, I'm just sending the link right now. 902-518-3033. We have not yet gotten to Major League Baseball. We can recap the CFL stuff because there's not a lot of other football going on here in the U.S. hour on Silver State Sports. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Mad Greek Eatery. We'll be back in a moment here on the RP Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
When we talk hockey in the RP show, it's for the Mad Greek. Are you craving the famous Greek ribs everybody's talking about? Get yours today at the Mad Greek Eatery. Check them out at themadgreekeatery.com. We have a ton of NHL fans watching, a ton of Panthers fans watching. We've got Florida Panthers great radio announcer and NHL Network analyst and all-around fantabulous Hall of Fame human being Bill Lindsay with us today. Buddy, you're in the hockey heartland with the Bash Brothers showing up. Where were you when you heard the news yesterday?
I was on the golf course. Just figured it out. Came across my phone. I was like, holy cow. Didn't quite expect that to happen, but it dropped and away we go. Bill Zito doesn't shy away from making moves, understands that the window is now. Draft picks, draft capital. That's for the other teams to kind of build around the future. We're in the middle of it.
Yeah. Well, what does this mean for the Florida Panthers? I think that's what everybody wants to know right now.
For the Panthers, it's exactly just deepening your club. You'll have to figure out some stuff. The big question is going to be around the goaltending. They do have a plan for that. I'm very sure of that. They're going to try and figure that out. But for the Panthers up front, what it does to you, it fits into your system. Brady comes here. We're a dump and chase team. We get the puck back. Brady and what they did in Ottawa, they played a very similar style, a very similar brand. They almost copied what we do. So he's going to know the systems perfectly well. He's leadership. He was the captain of the Senators. More leadership in the room. You got a future Hall of Famer, Brad Marchand, that's going to be playing on your third line. Just think about that. Just how deep you are up front. Barkov back healthy. And with this division, the Atlantic Division being ultra competitive, we saw what the teams did last year, including Ottawa. This just puts you in the position to be right back into that mix and be a front runner.
We got so many things to get to here in a short amount of time. I'll only keep you 20 minutes, but I want to talk all NHL things, not just Panthers. But here's the one that's going around, Billy. Two guys texted me this morning and said, is it a thing that U.S. players don't want to play in Canada? I'm like, it's been a thing for a while, boys. And you were born in the States, raised in Canada. You have this unique view on this. You must have an opinion.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time in Montreal and Calgary. The two Canadian teams that I played for, I thought it was terrific, especially Calgary was close to home. I grew up in Fernie, British Columbia, so it's just across. I got a lot of family and friends that were able to come to games, so Calgary was a good spot for myself. Going into Montreal, I got to experience the playoffs there. There's nothing like it. So there's a mix. I wouldn't say that they don't want to play for Canadian teams. There's the understanding of teams, though, that are really good and that are give yourself a chance to win a Stanley Cup, to position yourself. I come from the understanding that maybe if you're a player, you want to get into a situation where, okay, that's the right fit. I can go down there, and yes, it's advantageous to come to Florida. It's nice weather. You got the state tax, whether you want to argue that helps or not, but we got a lot of things going for us. But first and foremost, what you have down here is you got a winning culture and a winning brand. Forget about the 20 years where it was dismal. It was bad, Rod, for a long, long time. It was horrible. Now it's a destination. Why? Why? Because you're good and you have a chance to win Stanley Cup. So I have an opinion on that. I don't think it's totally true that Americans don't want to play for Canadian teams. I think that's just a false narrative. I just think the players want to be in the best position possible to win cups.
They want to win, right? Well, but here's the thing. It's not 1997 anymore. Yeah, Calgary and Montreal, great places, but there was Alan May always says Canada hasn't won a Stanley Cup since the internet was invented. He's talking about the pressure, right? And then there's the tax situation. I mean, I'm not bashing Canada. I'm here, but it's not 1997. It's a different climate now than when you were playing in those places.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, you got to go there with the understanding that it's going to be hard. But just consider Montreal and where they're at in those players this year. They're walking around Montreal. Do you think they're paying for food or drinks at this moment, that hockey team? No. When it's good in Montreal, they're going down the streets. Everyone's patting them on the back. They've turned a corner. They're getting close, and the job that they've been able to do without those young players, with Lane Hudson and you got Slavkovsky, Suzuki, the captain, you're building, and it's building right. That's a team that's very intriguing, and I would say a lot of people would want to go to the Montreal Canadiens at this moment if you gave them a chance and be okay. Well,
Yeah.
maybe I'm the player that's going to bring them over the top. If you get into a situation like that and you are the team that brings the cup back to Canada, you're going to be worshipped. You're an idol. It's going to. So if you think of it from that kind of standpoint, yeah, it's going to be hard. Like Toronto's a bad situation at the moment. Who maybe you don't want to go when it's that's. I guess that's where it's bad, is that when it's a when it's not good in Canada, it's like I don't really want. Do I want to put up with that? But when it's good, I would say absolutely yes. Like say Gavin McKenna gets drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs and he's able to lead them all. Yeah, like you're a hero. Same thing in Montreal. So it's kind of a two-way street, but you have to be good. You have to be in the position first. So the narrative's not as big as everyone makes it seem.
That's why these debates are so great, because Billy's given a different perspective, and life is about perspective. So I'm glad that you did. Now, a viewer earlier said, will Florida take the mantle away from Vegas of being the NHL's most hated team? Now,
Yeah.
what do you think?
We got a chance. I went just being as aggressive. Who wants to play against us? We're not going to be a fun team to play against. You talk about team toughness. Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett. You can just go down, and it becomes a battle of attrition with the depth that we have. You saw Carolina, the way that they won the cup, the way that we won a couple of Stanley Cups is that it's in your face hockey, and it's a hard brand. And can you keep up for that for 3 periods? Can you do it 4 times out of 7 games? Mostly the answer is no. And we were kind of bullies, and that's no disrespect to the team, but that's our style. We want to play in your face. If you beat us, we want to make you hurt. We want to make you feel the pain. We're going to try and tear a piece off you, win or lose. And that's a philosophy. And when you go against other teams and opponents, other places don't like that. They don't like it when teams are right in there and saying, hey, we're going to come in there. We're just going to try and tear you down and rip you apart, no matter what it takes. And that's kind of where we're at. So, yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, but Vegas, everything, like if you heard Bill Zito and you got a window to win, push. What are draft picks? Two of the picks that went the other way are 2029, 2030. Like, who knows what's going to be happening then as far as teams and draft scenarios. So that draft capital, basically, you got Brady Tkachuk for Sam Miskevich and a ninth, sending your 9th pick back. So in this year's draft, that's what it melts down to me. Basically, is that those 29, 30 picks, I wouldn't really count them at this moment. Good haul for Ottawa, but if you're looking at a Stanley Cup window, Bill Zito got a lot.
You met Brent, our co-host of Cats and Bolts. We did an emergency Instagram live yesterday, and I said, hey, the next Battle of Florida, Billy, block off 5 hours in your calendar. Because it was a brawl before Brady showed up. I don't know what it's going to be now.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's phenomenal to have this battle that we had going back and forth between the years. The Sunshine State rivalry, it took a long time to come to fruition, 25 years, but once it did, it like it's ramped up. It's like Edmonton and Calgary back in the heyday, or wherever you want to go, Montreal and the Quebec Nordiques. It's on that sort of level, which is great for the game. We've never had that for a long time, but with all these playoff experiences, we got a heated rivalry with Toronto. We got a huge rivalry. Same thing, even though they're not in the same division, with Carolina, with our playoff history. When we go in, now Montreal, you just go through all these teams, and all of a sudden you got a lot of teams that are gunning for you, or you've been in the playoffs against that. Hey, we don't like that team, and they don't like us, and that's the Atlantic Division in a nutshell. It's good for the game. I think it's rivalries are awesome. And if you're the Panthers, this is exactly what you want. You want deep runs, and you want teams to not like you. That means you have positioned yourself as one of the top teams and top targets in the NHL.
I want to bring up the departure of Sergei Bobrovsky in a second, but for our viewers, Bill Lindsay's with us, Florida Panthers great from the NHL Network. I don't know if I ever told you our show airs in Las Vegas on sports television out there. We are Vegas's favorite hockey show, they tell me. So what's your read on the whole Bruce Cassidy not leaving, Torts being replaced, the whole thing with what's going on in Vegas?
Hey, Vegas, do you? That's them. It's what's going to win now. We needed a coach to light a fire. Tortorella brings him in. They knew that Craig was going to be the replacement. They had that in mind. They knew that was upcoming. I'm interested, wondering if they won the Stanley Cup, if they still go into that same route. They probably do, but Vegas doesn't hesitate. They pull the trigger, and McCrimmon there, and ownership. It's okay. No hard feelings, but you did well. You get treated extremely good when you're there. But it's the old narrative. You're here with us, and once it's gone and once it's done, if we feel that you're not part of the puzzle that we're moving forward with, we're done with it. It's a cutthroat mentality. It's hard, but that's the business of winning, and that's what Vegas feels. That helps them to do it the best. They've had success. You just can't knock the success. That's the only thing. So if you look at it, does it work? Yes. The answer is definitely yes. It works for Vegas, but it could rile some people. It's they don't care about feelings. Let's put it that way.
You were the guy a couple of years ago in the rink, and I don't know where we were, but yeah, you said to me, can they possibly be a contender every year? And I'm like, yeah, just watch. But this is why. You're seeing why. They will always be a contender.
Mm-hmm. Then it shows you it's look, after the expansion draft, and you're talking, okay, well, Vegas is going to come in, and the only way to be successful as an expansion team is that they're going to have to build through the draft. They're going to have to get it. They're going to have to build and execute it. No. How many draft picks? How many original draft picks are playing for Vegas? There's some that, but Cody Glass initially right away gone.
Not too many.
Yeah, so that's the draft is just aforementioned tool to help us build and go. The Vegas is kind of a can you imagine expansion teams? So 9 years in, 3 Stanley Cups, missed the playoffs 1 time, and they have hardly any of their own draft picks. It's a different way to go about it, and if you look at it, and if you want to be successful, you can build through draft capital, but you also can do it through trades.
And that year that they missed, by the way, was the year Mark Stone and William Karlsson missed the whole year. They'll tell you that. And you saw this year with Barkov getting hurt what that did for you guys. You guys never had a chance right out of the gate. It is a thing when you lose your top players. It is. I mean, it's people say
it's correct. Yes.
Hey, so with Bobrovsky, the reports out, Elliot Friedman said it. He's not going to be back. I mean, I'm gutted, and I don't even know the guy. You've been around him for a long time. Like that's gonna hurt a lot of people.
Yeah. If the contract doesn't go and he goes somewhere else, it is going to hurt. But coming off his worst season that he ever had, you're going to have to look at that at 38 years old and do the numbers work. What's it looking like with his agent? That's with this bringing in of Brady Tkachuk, of Sergei Bobrovsky. Then, if I was in, he's top shape, keeps himself going. So wherever he's going, he's got a chance to be successful. But I would look at it from his standpoint from the Panthers standpoint, you look at Freddie Anderson and Bussy. Do you think that goaltending combination would be Stanley Cup champions at the start of the year, especially with the way that Anderson played, which is strange. You look at Wedgwood and what they were able to do there. Even Blackwood, they're 2.5 million and under. Vegas,
they're average.
Goaltending. Yeah, so all their goaltending. You just need good goaltending if you have really good teams and you're insulated. So get out. Like Carter Hart comes out of nowhere and just like he hasn't played in forever and comes in and becomes a starter and goes to the Stanley Cup final. If you do your due diligence, which the Panthers, I'm sure, are working at, you can find goaltenders. Just look at the backups that they've produced over the years. Stolarz, Lyon, even Tarasov this year was pretty good. They got with their goaltending situation and goaltending
Spencer Knight.
department. Spencer Knight, correct? That's right. Yeah, they got a good handle on what it takes to get it done in net.
Lastly, the viewers want to know your take on Babcock to Edmonton. Who would have thought?
Babcock to Edmonton. Do Zebras change their stripes? I hope so for his situation. I believe people deserve the chance at change, to prove it, to go out and to learn, and that's life, right? You have failures and you learn and you get a chance. And I hope Babcock's in that place that, okay, well, I did make some mistakes and I've learned from it and I've been able to reevaluate and go over it, and that's going to make me a better person and a better coach. He's a hell of a coach, X and O's, the understanding of the game. And so if you get that Babcock and he's understood, okay, well, part of this that I have to retrain and redo, and learn and get better, then you have potential for a fantastic coach with the Edmonton Oilers. It's going to be a lot of smoke, and it's up to Babcock to kind of put everything away with the way that he handles everything. But if it's the same old Mike Babcock that's kind of bullish and cockish and struts around and kind of in your face, with the players, whatever he wants to do with the media. But if it's that way, even in the dressing room, with what we heard, then that's not good. So we'll see. He deserves every person, if they work on themselves, deserve a chance. So I hope Mike comes back. He's done so much for the game. I hope we come back. He's learned a lot, and Edmonton and everything that they've got there, maybe give them chance with McDavid to finally get that cup.
Saskatchewan guy. His family watches this show. He's been on this show multiple times. He's been great to me, but in all those interviews, Billy, and it's been in between all these, after the Leafs, went to the U of S, Columbus, he's been on here. He never once gave a hint that he regrets anything he's done. So this news conference, when he's introduced, if they hire him, because I'm still not convinced they will, but if they do, that'll be must-see TV.
Yeah, that's must-see TV, but that's, look, Rod, if you look back at anything that you've done in your life, and if you look back and he thinks, well, okay, I didn't do anything wrong from the reports, and you go and say, well, okay, well, that's okay to continue to do that. I love him. I love when he coached, and he's got the Olympic gold, he's got the Stanley Cup, he's got everything on the mantle. So he knows how to do it. It's just the game's ever evolving. I'll take Lindy Ruff just for an example. He coached me, and he said for me, I said, well, when Buffalo was cooking there, I saw him after a game, and I said, what's going on here? He says, well, look, I had to get Twitter, I had to get Instagram, I had to get TikTok, I had to get all these things. I don't do anything on them, but I just have to know what my players are looking at. I had to
surveil them.
I had to understand ways to communicate with them. I had to be able to speak their language. So that Mike Babcock, when you come back, these players, you have to learn and understand their language at this moment with all that's going on with social media and how they approach. So if you're able to speak into their language, you'll get the buy-in.
They're cutting us off. Kelly checked in. Kelly Francis, she says, hi, Rod and Bill. She's watching in the Keys. Marathon, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Billy, thanks for jumping on.
That's my home.
Thanks for jumping on. Yeah, exactly. Love you, buddy. Thank you.
Love you. Take care, Rod. Thanks, buddy.
The great Bill Lindsay joining us from Deerfield Beach, Florida. Keeping an eye on things for us down there. We'll be right back on Silver State Sports and Game Plus streaming.
ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth the team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center. The Gene Simmons Band, performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at SaskTix.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world, thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world, thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. What a great start to the week. And I got to thank again Bill Lindsay for pinch hitting, because AJ Jakubec from TSN Ottawa was to join us. And he's like, oh, I can't now, Rod. We're going wall to wall live all day with a Brady Tkachuk trade. And Bill was like, yeah, I'll do it. Checking in from Deerfield Beach, Florida. Well, what a beautiful spot he lives in. Jeff in Winnipeg writes in. He says, RP show legend, Bill Lindsay. Oh, yeah, he's got to be on the Mount Rushmore. That would be a really good question. Who is on the Mount Rushmore of RP show guests? Somebody had mentioned Tim Hunter would be on. I don't know if there's enough mountain for Tim. You know what I mean? David writes in, David number 2. He's also in Winnipeg, where we're very big in Winnipeg. He writes in on the Western Dodge text line, which... proud partners of the RP show, Western Dodge, big city selection with small town service. David says, Rod, the thing I appreciate the most about you is your past is your past. We have all made mistakes or done things that we regret. You have chosen to move on from yours. I believe in redemption and rebirth. Live yours. Well, just to be clear, it was nothing outlandish for me. I don't have a criminal record. So it is, the past is the past. You can't change the past. So, yeah, there's so many people want to live there. And thank you, David. You just hit on one of my favorite topics. But I was coaching a guy, because that's what I do, mental health and addiction recovery, and talked about how his dad beat up his mom when the kid was, well, this guy's my age, but when he was 10. And he said that him and his mom were broken ever since. I'm like, you just wasted 40 years on that piece of shit that walked out of your life. Why would you waste your life because of him? In the past, guys like, changed my whole scenario. Yeah. Don't waste your life because of that loser. 902-518-3033. And that's why, well, Billy and I, listen, we just had a camera on the conversations that we have all the time. Like for him to say, it's not that bad playing in Canada. There's some great things too. Okay. And Billy's got the perspective that he's played in both. But he's also open-minded enough to say, well, it is different than 1997 when he was playing for the Flames. Sports update. Wyndham Clark escaped a shaky final round in a relentless gallery to emerge from Shinnecock Hills on Sunday with his second U.S. Open title, holding off a surging Sam Burns for a one-stroke victory at the iconic Southampton track. Which, by the way, Friday, in one of our 12-step meetings, we talked about honesty. And I said it wasn't hard for me to be honest. I just drank too much. I wasn't a loser. I wasn't a bad guy. Okay? When I was going through the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Customs Immigrations, they're like, you're squeaky clean. Yes, I am. So the past wasn't that bad. I just needed to stop drinking. So I did. So, yeah, the past is the past. There ain't nothing we can do about it today. And we also can't do anything about the future. The future is an illusion. That is a topic for another day. Wyndham Clark, at 4 under for the week, authored the 9th wire-to-wire win in U.S. Open history, though the simplicity of that statement belies a tournament that transformed from a laugher into a nail-biter during a drama-filled Sunday afternoon. And I'll say it again. I feel like this has been a long hour, but it really hasn't been a long hour, because I was sitting with my 86-year-old farmer uncle. He went from the soccer game to the golf. I'm like, on his TV, who are you? You never watched this stuff before. Just get in the flow. Serena Williams' comeback is in full swing as the 23-time Grand Slam champion will compete in women's singles at Wimbledon after receiving the event's final wild card. She's also set to compete in doubles at the All England Club alongside her older sister Venus when the tournament kicks off a week from today. Bryce Harper hit for his first career cycle, and Kyle Schwarber launched 3 home runs, including 2 in 1 inning in the Phillies' 15-3 rout of the Mets on Saturday, marking just the second time in MLB history that teammates accomplished those feats in the same game. As we were sitting in the living room of the farmhouse, and they're watching soccer and then golf, I'm like, why aren't you watching the Blue Jays? The Blue Jays are on. And my aunt, who's 84, she says they were rained out today at Chicago, or else we would be watching. I'm like, how do you know this? You guys never watched baseball before? Oh, yeah. Blue Jays went to the World Series, and everybody's into them now. What'd you say, Corey? Less than 30? Tennessee Titans have signed 4-time Pro Bowler Jeffrey Simmons to a 3-year, $105.8 million extension, making him the highest-paid defensive tackle in NFL history. Sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Don't just watch the game, live it. Gear up at the Ultimate Fan Zone. Jerseys, cards, collectibles. Find it all at ultimatefanzone.ca. RP Show continues right after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is overtime for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. And I thank all those that stopped in there on the weekend that were, because they messaged me. Some sent photos from the place that's an amusement park for hockey players. If you're missing hockey, head on down to Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary and thank me later. Where skill and fun collide. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. I was asking who's on the Mount Rushmore of our P-Show guests. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes, and he says, do the regulars like Scruffy count? No. I don't think so. Well, Moose. Yeah, Moose. And you kind of got room for two. I feel like a lot of you would like to have Elgard on here. We're not going to be Elgard. He's probably watching right now in Vegas on Silver State Sports. By the way, a lot of you are going to enjoy this tomorrow, I think. The voice of the BC Lions, Bob Marjanovic, is going to be on. The Moj. For a variety of reasons. Moj is a great guy. I ran into him at the team hotel 2 Saturdays ago when we were lining this all up, and he's a busy guy. But we're going to preview this weekend's touchdown Kelowna for everybody, for the Canadian Football League fans. But Moj, listen, he can talk a lot of NFL, and we will, but for those that celebrate, so you know, Jeff, the Stamps fan, it's Monday. It's too early to look ahead at the Week 4 games, but the Calgary Stampeders play the BC Lions in Kelowna, British Columbia, because the Lions are upended because of World Cup in their stadium. But the point of all this, I went to a Super Bowl party in L.A. in 2023, whenever Super Bowl 56 was there. It was Mike Ditka and Ron Jaworski's Super Bowl party. I didn't even know Moj was going. And I saw him there. And again, sober guy here. So I'm probably not as much fun as I used to be, but it's a hell of a lot less stressful. Moj took me around and introduced me to everybody. I mean, there were some guys there that I knew, like Chris Carter and Michael Irvin. But a lot of guys I didn't. RG3, Solomon Wilcots, Sirius XM NFL Radio, Jim McMahon. And I, like, halfway through, I turned to Moj. I'm like, Moj, you don't have to do this, man. I knew him just a little bit for him being the voice of the BC Lions. Our times intersected a little bit, but I didn't know him real well. And I'm just like, Bob, you don't need to do that. But he just kept doing it. And I got to be friends with all these guys from the National Football League. And I will tell you that it's funny because it was my age and older. There weren't a lot of young people there, which is still my style. But that night, I was introduced to the old NFL. A lot of prosthetics, a lot of blue hair, a lot of silver hair. That's on the men. A lot of canes, a lot of medication. The wives, yeah. I think the term trophy wife was invented for the National Football League and Super Bowl parties. And it's funny because the next day, I was with David Benefield, the former 49er and CFL. We're comparing notes. You do it at Grey Cup, we do it at Super Bowl. He's like, what was your party like? Well, it was good. I left at 9, but for the time I was there, how about yours? But, well, we're at this club. You can just imagine it's David Benefield. He's like, we're on the Sunset Strip. Sun came up. We're out on the speakers. I'm like, yeah, your Super Bowl party is a lot different than my Super Bowl party. And the odd thing is he's older than me. Age is but a number. Vancouver Eric writes in and says, Moj, ask one question, RP, and let him go. Pretty much that's the Moj. But that's more Scruffy. Can we play a little game? Because I don't think Scruffy's watching now. And for our Vegas viewers, that's the Hour 1 co-host on Mondays and Tuesdays. You'd rarely get to see him. He's been on the Vegas Hour just a couple of times. But I always say he's like Herschel Walker. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. So the little game is whenever Scruffy says, again, or like I said, if I could just grab a hook and just stop with the again. Where was I? I will say this. I wrote this down. Hey, Ryan in upstate New York, what have you been doing all day? You've been very quiet. He says, hope everyone makes the most of their Monday. Have a great one, Rod Squad. We weren't talking about the New York Jets or the New Jersey Devils, so he was not that engaged today. But that's okay. Glad you were here, Ryan. We must be breaking soon, are we, producer Corey, or shutting her down? For those that observe, just under 2 minutes, Moose Dupont and I have been hired again by the Global Crypto Casino BC game to host a live stream Wednesday when Canada takes on Switzerland at the World Cup. Here is your sporting news update on that. Canada trains in Vancouver today ahead of Wednesday's Group B finale against Switzerland at the FIFA World Cup. The Canadians sit atop the group standings on goal differential after a 6-0 motorboating of Qatar on Thursday, and can secure first place with a win or draw, earning a round of 32 game at BC Place on July 2nd. Players say growing support from fans across the country has provided a major boost during Canada's home World Cup campaign. The country's about to go off. And my 86-year-old farmer uncle, he's like, so you sit on a couch and they put a camera on you and you just talk about the game and people watch? Yes. I don't get it either. But it's the newest thing. So join us Wednesday, 1 p.m. Mountain at the streaming platform Gosh. But it'll be on all of my social media channels, my personal at Rod Pedersen on Instagram, Twitter, and so forth. I tell you what, I knew the second we went off the air last week, I'm like, oh, they're going to hire us again. And they did, because it was so much fun. I thank Moose for that, and I thank you people, because y'all showed up and made it a big banging party. All right, thank you, producer Corey. Moj with us tomorrow. Thanks to Billy, Lindsay today, and Scruffy, and most of all you. And we'll see you tomorrow, Silver State Sports, Game Plus streaming, WQVZ.
Good.